Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Horror 421, the podcast, with your hosts, special effects makeup artist supreme, Elena Morales, and your friendly small-town horror author, Charles Campbell. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the frights in this week's episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Horror 421, the podcast. I'm your host, small town horror author Charles Campbell. And with me today, I have, as always, my beautiful and talented co-hosts, Elena.
Hello, everyone.
Elena Morales, special effects makeup extraordinaire. And today, we have a very good friend of ours. She's been a personal friend of mine for a number of years now. She is super talented and she has all kinds of things going on, but she is an author and she is an artist. And two of the books I've read that she's put out are Velvet and The Ghost Light of Alhambra. And we are more than happy to have Francie Klopotic on the show today. Welcome, Francie.
Thank you very much for having me.
We're so excited to have you. So, Francie, I know you. I've known you for a few years now. I know what you can do. I know what you're capable of. And Elena had the opportunity to meet you at a book signing a few months ago. So now Elena knows you, but I don't know if she knows what you're capable of.
I know what she's capable of. Her art is beautiful. Her shading, her painting, everything about Francie is amazing. And I don't just say that because you're on the show. I say that because as a human, you were very intriguing and also just very bright and just a light to the world, it seemed. And I admire your work from afar all the time because I love your painting so much. I've really enjoyed watching you paint the monsters and all these other ones that you've done special for other people. And it's just amazing what you can do. It really, really is.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you to say. I appreciate that.
So we'll kind of get right into it, Francie. I would like for you to share with our audience, a little bit of your background, how you got into the art world, and what kind of segued into writing for you. I know that's a broad range, but we're going to have a conversation here. So,
Okay.
Just kind of get us started. Kind of give us your background a little bit and how you got into what you do.
Okay. Well, my mother's mother, my grandmother, was my first best friend. I spent most of my childhood with her, on the weekends especially. And she was actually a piano player, a songwriter, and an artist. And she encouraged my mother to get me started with piano lessons when I was young. And I played for a couple years before I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. But she encouraged me especially to draw. And when I was a child, I was really in love with and I'm showing my age. They were in reruns. The television show Flipper, which was about a dolphin. And I loved dolphins when I was a kid. And
I'm
horses.
old enough to remember that show too, so it's all right.
Okay. Anyway, I spent a lot of time sitting at her kitchen table drawing horses and dolphins. And I started writing poetry because she was a poet. And when I was a teenager back in the 80s, I had a lot of my poems published. And I don't know, it just came natural, I guess, because it was in my family. And I started drawing people, and this is an embarrassing story, but I'll tell it anyway. My father, my biological father, on my 10th birthday, he came outside. My brother and I were playing, and he looked me in the face and told me he wished I'd never been born. And he turned and he walked out of my life. So he left me on my 10th birthday, and I was absolutely shattered. My mother was inconsolable. The whole thing was just really, really bad. But anyway, that summer, the television show The Monkees came on Channel 17 in Atlanta before it became the big superstation. It was little WTCG, Channel 17. And so I started watching it, and I was captured by it. And it was almost like those four guys became my surrogate dad. And so every day after, whenever it came on, I think it was like 3:30 in the afternoon, everything stopped and I had to watch the Monkees. Well, my mom found some records for me, and you got to keep in mind, I was born the year the show came out. So it'd been 10 years since the show had first come out. So it's hard to find back then, hard to find anything old. But we went to a library of all things. For young people listening, you're not going to believe this, but you used to have to like hunt stuff down. And so my mom went to a librarian who found a record store in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we placed an order for some records, and it took about a month to get there because, you send a check and then they have to clear the check. And then so you get your merchandise. But I sat down with one of my album covers, and I just decided, since there were no pictures or posters, I'm just going to make my own. So I've never have drawn a person before in my life. And I picked up a pencil and some paper, and I sat down at the table and I drew Michael Nesmith. And I loved it. It was fun. I was like, wow. And so I started teaching myself on my own just by practicing. And I know I'm rambling. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm trying
you're
to.
not. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
This is the best part.
Okay. Well, thank you. I got married, and my first marriage was really bad. So I didn't draw anything for a very, very long time until 2018. I decided, well, I've not done this in a while. Let me pick up my pencils and see if I can do it again. Well, I was real rough. Of course, you haven't done it in decades, so it's kind of hard. But I started practicing again and got back into it and met some people here in Augusta who are artists and tried to kind of get my stuff out there. I'm sure y'all remember when you started how it's kind of scary, put yourself out, and especially when nobody knows who you are.
Petrifying. That is one of like the most petrifying things I think I've probably ever. Oh my God.
I know. It is terrifying. I'll give a shout out to Regina Breda at 4P Studios. She gave me my first chance to show any art in a show. She was doing at the time, it was a $100 and under show during the holidays. And she allowed me to put some drawings, just some sketches in her show. And of course, I didn't sell anything, but I had my first group show, which was really exciting. I thought, well, maybe I can do this, And so, I don't know, one thing led to another. Charles had hit me up to do some commissions for him, which I thoroughly enjoyed. One year, I think it was like 2019, that Christmas, I was working up to Christmas Eve to finish commissions. I had so many people hitting me up to do art for them. And which was mind blowing because I'm like, me, I'm a nobody, Okay, I'll, if you want me to draw something for you, I will. But I've had countless group shows that I've been in. I had my first solo show at 4P Studios in 2020. And it was real funny because in that same year, I was thinking about all the stuff that I'd been doing. And I remembered that very first drawing that I did of Michael Nesmith. I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to try to draw that again? Because, the first drawing is long gone. Who knows where it went? And so I sat down and I sketched him out and I posted it on Instagram, didn't think anything of it. And then Austin Rhodes, the local radio guy here, hits me up on Facebook. He says, you need to go look at the Monkeys Instagram, like right now. And I'm like, oh,
I remember that.
Yeah. And they had actually shared out my art. And that blew my mind. Whoever the admin was for the band, that just absolutely blew my mind. So anyway, I've just been doing my own thing. Last year I started painting for the first time. Seriously, I thought, I can draw people. Let me see if I can paint people. And I stay busy because I love it so much. That's all I want to do anymore is just paint. So in a nutshell, kind of a big nutshell, that's kind of how I got to where I am.
Well, there's a general question we always seem to ask folks on the podcast, and I'm going to ask you, and you've already given a little hint at part of the answer, but who are some of the people that inspire you and that have influenced you in the art world or the writing world? Who are some of the people you look up to? Now, you've already mentioned one, but you can talk about him again for sure.
Yeah. In the writing world, Jack Kerouac is a really big inspiration. I like all the beat poets like Allen Ginsberg. Oh goodness. There's a woman named Francesca Leah Block. I'm not sure if either one of you have heard of her, but she wrote a book called Wheatsy Bat back in the late 90s. And a friend of mine at work had given me a copy of that book. She said, this is you need to read it. And I've read everything this woman has ever written. And to me, she's one of the best writers alive today. As far as writing goes, that's the main ones. For art, the pop art movement was really, really big for me. Andy Warhol is a huge influence of mine. Local people, oh my gosh, there's so many people here in town that.
Well, I know a couple off the top of my head, but I'll let you name them. I'm staring at one of her paintings on my wall right now.
Yeah, Erica Pistecki,
Yep.
Leonard Porkchop Zimmerman, Billy Sanders, Brian Stewart. Oh my gosh. They'll come to me. I'm pretty much almost everybody I know in the art world here
Oh
in
yeah,
town
yeah.
is an influence. Yeah.
Well, don't feel bad if you're pressured to try to remember everybody. You know, it's like
That'd be a long list.
yeah, it'd be a long list. Now I do know one that has really supported you is Melissa. So she's Melissa Coffee.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's been, yeah. And her work as a collage artist is unbelievable. If you've never seen it, you need to look her up and look at her work. It's just mind blowing what she does with collage.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing.
She is.
But so are you, Francie.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So I want to dig into one of the books that I've read that I thoroughly enjoyed, and you kind of gave me some bad news. It's going to be a little while before the sequel comes out, which
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm feeling some kind of way about that right now. But
I know a lot of people are. People keep hitting me up if it's the one I'm thinking about.
I digress. The Ghost Light of Alhambra.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to give away too much of the book, but Francie is a big aficionado, is what I want to say, of the silent film era. And there are some folks from that era that she really enjoys.
Yeah.
And they play, some role in this book. But I'd like for you to tell us about your fascination with the silent movie era.
Okay.
And kind of what led you to create this wonderful book. And if you haven't read The Ghost Light of Alhambra by Francie Klopotic, go buy it today. You won't regret it. It's a great book. But I will shut up and let Francie talk.
Okay, well, hey. Again, when I was a child, the only thing I had to comfort the wounds of losing my father was television. And I used to enjoy watching old movies. And I think it was Channel 8 in Atlanta, which is a PBS channel, started showing silent films. And it was the first time I'd ever seen Charlie Chaplin. And I absolutely thought he was amazing. And the whole idea of silent film just, I don't know, just did something to me. It's almost like I'm reincarnated from that time. I just feel like a real strong pull from that time, the early 1900s. I had seen some pictures of Theda Bara, who was a huge star back then, and felt really drawn to her. And I don't know, I just, from a young age, the whole black and white film, silent film thing has just been a big influence in my life, as well as the artist and the writers that I mentioned before.
What's one of your all-time favorite silent films?
Probably City Lights with Charlie Chaplin.
I get stuck on I used to actually be really petrified of it as a kid, but I always loved The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the 1920 version with Lon Chaney.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that fascinated me as a kid. Like, I thought that was the coolest thing since sliced pie. I don't know. There was a couple other silent films I can't remember. My mom used to have a bunch of them, and just like you with the monkeys too. I know squirrel moment, but she used to always have a VHS I used to watch too of the monkeys. So the monkeys is always one of those happy shows. Like,
Oh
you're
yeah.
having one of those times when you're going through absolute hell. It's like, hey, we're the monkeys.
That's true.
Hey, monkey around, and it just instantly puts you in a good mood. And I think it's one of those shows for a lot of people that brings that happy memory of childhood and innocence again,
It does. Yeah, it does. And for a long time, people would make fun of me because of it. And people who weren't there, which most everybody wasn't there when all this was going down in my life, wouldn't understand when I tell them that they literally saved my life as a young child, because I was suicidal. I had those thoughts, my father doesn't love me. Nobody's going to love me again, that kind of thing. So yeah, the music and the comedy, looking at it now, I mean, of course it's silly because I'm old, but it got me through such a difficult time. And Michael Nesmith's music, his work with that TV show and also his solo work, carried me through the darkest, deepest times of my life. So when he passed away last year, that was a very big blow. But anyway, we keep going.
That's right. And I will tell you, it's not silly. So
Okay.
It's not silly. It's very real.
Yeah.
And you know, we love
Yeah.
you, Francie. You know that.
We
So
love you too.
I want to get back to
Okay.
Ghost Light of Alhambra, though.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to know how you came up with the character of Gemma, and you know who my favorite character is.
Oh yes, Domingo.
Domingo. I call Dean Domingo every time I see him.
Yeah.
So I want to know where those characters came from. What did you base those from, if anything?
Actually, Dean and me.
Did you really?
For real.
Nice. I knew it.
Yeah,
I
actually,
knew it.
yeah, you're right. So when you call him Domingo, yep, that's correct.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
That's his new name, Domingo.
there you go.
Domingo Klopotic. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, the story, how that got started. I don't know, Charles, if you remember my little zine that I was putting out a few years ago called Intentional Pompadour.
Yeah, I was in a couple
If
of
you
them.
remember that, yeah, it was just a little something I did just for fun and just to try to give people, if anybody wanted to see their work in print, I'd do it for them. I did all the work. I printed it, I stapled it, I got it out. I did whatever. I had started doing interviews with people, movers and shakers around town, and I'd actually scored an interview with Charles Scavullo, who is the executive director at the Imperial Theater. And so I met him and had an interview time with him, spent probably about an hour talking to him. And I'd already known from the past that Charlie Chaplin had been to the Imperial back in 1918, to sell war bonds during World War I. And just knowing that he was on that stage just still blows my mind. But we were talking, and I asked Charles, I said, so knowing that probably the answer was yes, I said, do you have a ghost light here, at the Imperial? He laughed. He said, yeah, come on. And so he took me back to see it. And he opened the doors to the theater. Of course, it was dark because nothing was going on. And there was that light standing on the stage. And that just, at that moment, a story just fell into me. That's the best way I can describe it. And
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, being, like I said, a lifelong fan of Charlie Chaplin, knowing that he was there at the Alhambra, the whole thing about the ghost town, it just, I don't know, it was weird. It's like a wave just hit me. And just a little tidbit for people who are listening. The book is set in a fictional Georgia rural town called Cut Rock. It's kind of like a family drama and a romantic ghost story wrapped up in one. The protagonist, her name is Gemma Goodson, and she comes back home to Cut Rock from Augusta to care for her sister after their mother had passed away. And in the course of the beginning of the story, she stumbles upon this abandoned theater that's in this ghost town that she didn't know existed. And when she stopped to check out the theater, because she was fascinated with theaters, being that was me, she, when unbeknownst to her, there was a spirit that had been living in that theater that kind of woke up when she showed up. So I'll leave it at that.
So it has a little creepy factor to it, Lena.
Yeah.
The Phantom of the Opera's here. Sorry.
That's all right.
I love stories like that. I'm like, I always wanted to meet a ghost in a theater. I don't know why. That freaking fascinates the shit out of me. I don't know. Like, did you ever read 20th Century Ghost by Joe Hill?
No,
So it's a compilation of short stories, and one of them, it's about, it starts out in a kid's perspective. He was seeing The Wizard of Oz in the movie, and sitting next to him, he sees someone that's dead, and she looks very, very dead, and he's freaking out because he looked over again and she wasn't there, and he had a full conversation with her.
Oh, wow.
And he runs out, and the guy at the theater, the usher, he was like, you didn't see anything. And he kind of had to tell him about the background of this girl who passed away in the movie theater from a brain bleed, like randomly out of nowhere.
Oh my gosh.
And so it kind of is a happening that happens over the years. And then they shut down this movie theater, and then they decided to reopen it after they revamped it.
Uh-huh.
And on the premiere of the movie, the guy goes back there to see what they did to his movie theater, because after he was a kid, he grew up and was the owner. And he died that very night. And he was looking over, because they had a video camera in the theater. He looked over and he was talking to someone who wasn't there.
Oh, wow.
And then he just passed away and he was gone. No one ever saw him again. And I was like, that is awesome.
It's way cool.
Yeah. It was a great story. You should. I just ruined it for you, but it's great.
Oh, that's okay.
You should still read it though.
Yeah. And there are ghosts at the Imperial. Charles had told me that there was a ghost cat that roams around. And I've got friends who have actually experienced paranormal things up in the balcony. So if you're ever down here and want to check out the Imperial, I think they do give tours, so you can give them a call and see if you feel or see anything.
Sounds like a date. Let's go.
Yeah, ready.
So with your experience in the supernatural, do you have a what is one of your, not best experiences, because I don't know if it's a good experience or a bad one. What is one of your experiences in the supernatural? Have you ever seen or heard of a ghost?
Yeah. Well, yeah, my whole life has been paranormal.
Mhm.
I don't talk about it much because,
Right.
people don't understand.
Well,
Right.
this is the place
But,
to talk about it. This is the
Yeah,
place.
but no, I can tell you a few things. I just don't want to tell everything. I'll tell off mic.
Yeah, no, we can wait. We don't have to talk about it.
We
Oh, no,
we get our best stories off mic, and I look at Elena and I'm like, damn it, man, we can't record this. But if there's something you can share, please do.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause you're not the only one. I mean, I recorded with Leanna Falconer a couple weeks ago, and she laid it on me. She had some pretty cool supernatural experiences. So if there's something you're willing to share, feel free to share it.
Yeah, I've got some things. When I was a small kid, I can remember, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I had 2 pictures on the wall across from where my bed was. So when I go to bed at night, I'm looking over at these pictures on the wall. And I want to say it was characters like Raggedy Ann and Andy, which is way old stuff. Elena, I don't think you know what that is, but
I had one, but I got rid of it because it creeped me out.
Yeah, they're creepy. But anyway, they would come off the wall and dance on the top of my dresser. No kidding. I would see this. And one night I was sitting up in bed and I was laughing. I can remember they were dancing or doing something. My parents, it's like I was in a trance.
Wow.
I saw my parents come in the room and my mom trying to shake me out of it. Well, I was still just staring at my dresser. They literally had to put water on my face to get me to come out of it. And as soon as I came out of it, I watched those 2 characters climb back into those pictures. I was a child.
Oh, wow.
This was, I was maybe 6 or 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh my goodness, I've seen things in the sky. My husband and I were at a cemetery in Stone Mountain. Y'all should, if you're ever in the Atlanta area, I know you're in Atlanta, right, Elena?
I'm about an hour north, but I used to live 20 minutes from it. I think I've been actually to that cemetery near Stone Mountain, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, we were walking up the hill. I'm trying to remember where the Civil War graves are. I'm not sure, but we were walking up the hill. It was me. I was to the left of Dean. And so we were walking there, and I turned to look at Dean. And when I looked at Dean, well, next to Dean was what looked like a soldier from the chest up, facing straight ahead and walking with us. You could see the epaulets on his shoulder. You could see the beard, his hair. And as soon as he turned and looked at me and noticed that I was looking at him, he kind of disappeared, which was creepy.
That is
very creepy. Cool, but creepy. I've had a lot of ghost experiences, a lot of strange things in the sky, like I said, just stuff in the house. I used to have a shadow figure that would stand in my doorway and watch me go to sleep at night.
Oh, wow.
That lasted for about a week, and that was terrifying. But yeah, so
I had it was only for a short period of time, but I thought I was having just regular old sleep paralysis. Well, actually, excuse me, everyone thought I was having sleep paralysis. I, on the other hand, thought it was a real freaking ordeal because it was just irritating me. And it just every night, and I could not breathe. And it finally got to the point where I would wake up and there's this figure, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And my mom heard me scream one night, and I was like, oh God, I'm dying. But yeah, stuff like that would happen all the time. But I think the weirdest thing that ever happened, we have our old house, the house, my parents' house. My cousin always says it's haunted. It's mainly the basement. He always said that.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, it's not, but it is. So in the basement, I've never had a good experience down there. I do not go down there by myself. I am almost 30 and like I will not go in the basement by myself.
Yeah.
And they can think I'm crazy for it now. I don't care. But I think one night we had all these VHS tapes and my mom has a giant collection in the basement. And I went down there one night to get one. And so there's 2 sets of stairs. When you come down the second set of stairs down in the basement, you look to your left and there's a little guest bedroom we built in the house to kind of finish that off.
Uh-huh.
The door just opens by itself. And I was like, what the hell is that?
Oh,
And then the TV turns on by itself. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And I freaked out. I ran upstairs. I've never been in that basement since, because I think the next day I said, hey, the TV turned on down there last night. And they were like, what? I said, the TV turned on down there last night. They were like, maybe your brother like put it on a timer to freak you out in the middle of the night or something. No, it was unplugged.
Oh, right.
I was like, no, fam. I'm not going down here. I don't know. I don't like it. No, thank you. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
I don't blame you one bit.
I was like, nope, we're just going to avoid this unless there's people down here with me. And I will, no.
Say it's TTG, time to go.
That's
yeah,
right.
exactly. Like in New Orleans, everybody's like, did you do a ghost tour? I said, no, I do not do voodoo. I said, I will fuck up and bring it home by accident. I have a bad habit of doing shit. I said, my luck, I'm going to bring it home. No.
Yeah, you saw Skeleton Key, right? We ended up in something like that.
Listen, that's one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
Mine too.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
It's my favorite Kate Hudson movie and one of my favorite horror movies. Not that I'm watch a lot of Kate Hudson movies because most of them are like chick flicks, but that movie was incredible.
Well, that was a different role for her too.
Well, it was great. She did a good job, and I loved everything about that movie. But
they researched that so well. But I really wished it was a book, because I would have loved to read that in a book too.
Yeah.
It was very atmospheric, though.
Well, upon first viewing, I didn't see the ending that they had. I mean,
really?
I didn't see it coming. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't figure it out.
Yeah.
But that was good.
No one knows what I'm talking about. It's a very unknown horror movie. I'm like, everyone needs to watch that. It's
watch
so
it.
good.
What was it again? I missed the title.
The Skeleton Key.
Skeleton Key. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
What?
No.
Oh my God.
Oh man. So
we're gonna have to do a whole podcast on the Skeleton Key.
We should. I would totally be down for that.
Hey, I got it
apart.
on DVD. Now, don't tell Dustin I got it on regular DVD because he'll get mad.
You know he bougie.
Yeah,
Lord Jesus, that boy is bougie.
He's got to have Blu-ray. Francie, he's got to have Blu-ray everything.
I was like, seriously, man, you're gonna complain? Just shut up and watch the movie. It's fine. But so the premise of the Skeleton Key, Kate Hudson is a kind of like in-home care nurse, and is it Louisiana or New Orleans?
It's in New Orleans, but
it's like on that
it starts off. Yeah, she works like in a hospital to begin with, and it's like where the older folks are dying off.
Hospice.
Yeah, hospice. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm a writer. I should know that. But
yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. But yeah, like, and it starts off really sad. Like this old guy dies, and his relatives don't care anything about him, so no one comes to pick up his what little he has left is in a box. And she finds herself walking to the back of the hospital or whatever the place is to throw his stuff away, and she opens the dumpster and she sees boxes of other people's stuff just sitting in the dumpster, and she just has a moment where she says, you know what, screw this, I'm not going to throw this man's stuff away, I'm going to keep it. So she kept the box and she kept the keychain he had and all this stuff, and she's like, screw this job, I quit. And it segues into the story.
Oh wow, that sounds interesting.
It is very interesting, and it's very well done, and it's very underrated. To Elena's point, no one has really heard of it, but it's in my top 10 for sure.
They just did this cool, like, and when she goes in the house and she's taking care of this guy, he's mute. He's just mute. And his sister is batshit insane. Like, she's old, Southern, batshit insane. And none of the mirrors in the house. There's no mirrors. Everything is covered. And they like it.
Yeah. You have to check it out.
Wow. Cool.
So it is definitely cool. Now, Francie, there's another character I want to talk to you about and kind of dive into. Miss Velvet Riverstone from
Yeah,
Savannah, Georgia.
right.
Can you tell me a little bit about Miss Velvet and where you can find Miss Velvet?
Where people can find the book
Well, yeah,
is
where
what.
they can find the book, but I was trying to be clever and just
Oh,
have you tell us a little
oh.
backstory on Velvet. And
It's been a
it's
day. I told you I'm
Smooth.
late too
yeah, it
much.
flopped.
Smooth, Charles.
It flopped.
Smooth.
But anyway, tell us about Velvet Riverstone and how you came up with that idea. Set in Savannah, Georgia. The setting, the way you describe things. I've been to Savannah quite a few times, and I mean, you nail it. You really nail the tone and you nail the style of the
Thank
city.
you. Yeah,
Um,
Savannah is actually supposed to be one of the main characters, so I'm glad that that comes through. I
yeah,
really
it
am.
does. It does. And
I was sitting on the deck with my husband and talking about writing because I'd been wanting to write a book for years and never really sat down to do it. And I was asking him what he thought. Where should I set a story if I make one? And we sat there and thought about it. I said, why not Savannah? Because we spend an inordinate amount of time in Savannah. That's really like our second home. And in fact, we're going to go back down there in May for a little while. But I thought, okay, yeah, Savannah, I can do that because I know it like the back of my hand.
mhm.
And again, not to sound stupid or whatever, but Velvet is me, and Velvet really is me. So if you read the book, you're going to learn a lot about me. And the story with Nigel, it basically is how Dean and I met, but not exactly how Dean and I met, but a lot of that is pretty much biographical. So now I've really embarrassed myself.
I
Nothing
don't
is embarrassing on the show.
no, no.
Ever.
We
Yeah.
talked for an hour with David Howard Thornton about farts, so don't worry about it. It's
Oh,
fine.
I
okay.
myself told my own toot story, so
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
you're welcome. I've embarrassed myself first, so no worries.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
But actually, Velvet is a goth, an elder goth. An elder goth is somebody who was in the scene when it started, or shortly after, and I got into it back in the '80s, and still one. I may not dress it all the time, but it's a mindset. It's a lifestyle. You embrace the dark of everybody. Everybody's got a dark side. There's death. We're all heading toward it. It's nothing scary or evil. It's just you're facing, the dark side and finding the beauty in what people are afraid of. And there's nothing to be afraid of when it comes to facing your mortality. In fact, I think it's a good thing to be able to look at it and, at least make peace with it because we're all going there. But, so Velvet's a goth and she's got friends that she met at a department store in Atlanta. And I worked at Rich's in Atlanta for 6 years. And some of these,
Riches. That's an
yeah.
old name, but
Oh
go
yeah.
ahead.
One of the best jobs I ever had, actually. But I worked with a lot of really interesting people, and these characters they just came to me as people that I used to work with. So Velvet, the story, is very autobiographical from start to finish. It's real funny because her ex-husband is my ex-husband.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay, well, that tells a lot right there.
yeah. So I'm not going to tell you his real name, but yeah, put it
Yeah,
this way: the initials are his initials. So
I got you. I
yeah.
got you. Yeah, that actually you just told me something new.
Oh, okay.
That really I didn't know that. And wow, you got me speechless for a second.
Yeah. Well, I hope that's good.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It
Oh,
is. It is. It is for sure.
yeah.
All right.
Did I answer your question on that?
You did. You
Okay.
did. You were much better at answering it than I was posing it. So
Okay.
I got Elena to bail me out, and she didn't even bail me out. She's just sitting
I'm
there.
sorry, Charles. I was gonna let you embarrass yourself on that
She's
one.
like, watch this fool. Oh, what the hell is he doing? Where's he going with this?
Also, Francie, can I say that two of my favorite pieces of yours were the picture of Divine.
Oh yeah.
I love Divine in general, and I just really like that painting. But the best, not the best one because everybody's is different. The portrait you did of Frida Kahlo,
Oh
the tones and the colors that you picked were just perfect for her because she is such an aspiring artist and inspiring artist, not aspiring. Sorry.
right.
And her life story is so tragic and awesome at the same time.
It is.
I just really love that portrait you did of her. She
Oh, thank
just
you.
looked beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was very proud of that one, to be honest, because that was the first serious painting that I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was my first serious attempt at portraiture, and I was very pleased how it came out. So thank you very much for that.
Do you use acrylic or oil?
Acrylic.
Acrylic.
I use Golden brand Open. They are slow drying, so they work like oils. I've never used oil, but they're awesome. They stay wet on the palette up to a week or two.
I actually really like oil for textural things. The only bad part, like you said, it takes forever to dry.
Oh yeah.
I did I made a table for my cousin. She likes a lot of the tentacle art and stuff like that. So I made a giant octopus on a table and had a whole tentacle scene going on.
Oh wow, cool.
And I had to wait forever for it to dry so I could put like a top coat on it just so it can shine and stuff and she can put stuff on this coffee table. But you can tell the texture and stuff. I think next time I do anything, I'm gonna get it on wood and so I can just like do the scraping on it.
Yeah.
Big petals and things like that with it.
That sounds cool.
That is cool.
Art is fun.
It is fun. It's very relaxing too.
I just like being able to get messy and it has a place to put your thoughts, and all art is subjective. So I like that everybody has a different style of their own.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people always thought like, the Renaissance era, they always wanted to do everything with the chiseled faces and everything had to be perfection. And, Michelangelo was like, no, I want to paint as God made people, like they're imperfect, they have imperfections. I want to show that. And then, artists after that, they just made so many different things with different textures and pieces. And it's so intriguing to me.
It is very much so. Yeah, me too.
Who is your favorite artist of all time?
Of all time.
That's a hard question. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm really drawn to pop art. That whole thing with the bright colors and the funky stuff. I probably have to say Peter Max.
Excellent choice.
I absolutely adore Peter Max. I should have brought him up earlier. I was trying to rack my brain, but yeah, he and Andy Warhol are right up there in a higher echelon.
Warhol, he had a really cool. Did you ever get to see his exhibit?
Which one? The one in Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went there. I've been to his museum up in Pittsburgh too.
I also was not expecting when I went to that there would be a room of genitals.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I was with a friend and we were just walking and all I heard was like, because it was a night when it was adults could go.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of had a drink in their hand and you could have a drink while you walk through the museum. And all I know is that someone walked me and they were like, did you see that butthole? And I was like, excuse me? Did I hear that right? I think I'm already going deaf. Like I already have hearing problems. I'm going deaf.
Yeah.
My friend was like, no, they said butthole. And then we heard somebody else say vagina. And I was like, dude, I'm not understanding what's going on. What kind of museum are we at? Like, what is this? And we walk in and it's just all of these paintings. I was like, okay. That is what you mean. Yes. Very detailed and accurate. Thank you for the visual there, Mr. Warhol. I appreciate it, sir.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, when I was
you have to look at it.
Yeah, at the museum in Pittsburgh, my ex and I had gone up there for something. I can't remember what, but we went to the museum and walking around, and all of a sudden, there's this completely naked man just walks by. I'm like, okay, what the hell is this? And they were going to do some kind of painting. He had like a little class. He's just walking around completely naked, talking about the art. And I'm like, okay, I think I'll go somewhere else. Thank you very much. Yeah. And I wasn't expecting that at all. That was bizarre.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to concentrate on talking about art when you have a peen in your face. It's not I'm like, hey, man, there's a lot going on in here, and I don't know why you're naked. Very strange, sir.
Yeah, welcome to Horror 421, the podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, I always got to find a place to make it awkward so people feel comfortable being here. Or uncomfortable. I don't know. It's funny.
Whatever the case may be.
Exactly. Well, Francie,
it applied to Warhol.
You are multi-talented. And one thing I ask authors specifically when they're on the show is how do they get into the mindset uh, to sit down and put their story down. Now, with you, it's a little different. I want to ask the same question with both areas. I mean, when you sit down to write a book or a story, how do you get into that frame of mind? And the same question for your art. Uh, so, kind of give me an idea of your creative process. How you do it. How
Well,
you get into that mind frame.
I've always had a very, very strong and vivid imagination.
Mhm.
And it's real easy for me. I'm a daydreamer. It's embarrassing to say. I spend a lot of time in my head daydreaming and thinking about things. And when I have an idea for a story or a poem or whatever, it's like I could just immediately go into it. I mean,
Mhm.
I sit down at my computer and it's crazy because I write best when I have very loud music playing. I'm talking people singing. You would think that listening
Same
to
here.
people singing would mess you up. Yeah, that's right.
You're the one of the few. I mean, we've had a bunch of authors on here, and none of them have said that.
Oh
You know,
gosh.
they'll listen to soundtracks or they'll listen to something instrumental, but
Oh
they
no.
can't listen to anything with lyrics. But
Mm-mm.
I do, and you
Oh yeah.
do. So that's awesome. But keep going.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I wrote Velvet, I mean, I actually have a soundtrack. I mean, I put together a soundtrack. Each scene has songs. And so when I was working on different scenes, I would listen to the songs and it would help me. It would help me get through them and put them together. It was so funny. I was struggling on one part. Charles, I know you remember the scene in the cemetery where her ex-husband shows up.
Hmm.
Well, I had gone to the kitchen and was sitting at the table and I was struggling with it, trying to think, like, what can I do with this? And my husband, as you know, is a musician and he
Hmm.
likes to put on his favorite music and play along with it or sing whatever he feels like doing. So there's a band from the Chicago area called Enough's Enough that came out in the late 80s, early 90s. And he put one of their albums on and there was a song that came on and I was listening to it and the entire scene unfolded before me. So I ran back to my computer, sat down and punched it out and I had it done. It was finished in the
Nice.
span of listening to that song once.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, music and a very strong imagination. It just puts me right in the zone.
Is that the
And
same? The same apply on the art side?
yeah, pretty much. Pretty
That's
much.
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I'll sit and think, if I'm not working on a real person, if I do something kind of what I consider fantastical, because I do some faces that are not people,
Hmm.
I'll sit with my thoughts and I'll get a picture in my head of what I want to do, and it just happens. I mean, it's really no process other than just getting into myself. And
Right.
I really do think that part of being an introvert, I'm an extroverted introvert. I have no problem getting out, talking to people, whatever, and doing things, but I'm very much into the inner self, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And I'm always swimming in there. So there's always all ideas, visions, I mean, everything. And that, I think that also ties into the paranormal aspects of my life. I'm on a different plane. And I know that might sound really haughty and ugly, but I don't mean it that way. I literally am living on another plane. I'm
Mhm.
here on Earth in the real world, but I'm also in a different world, if that makes any kind of sense.
Mhm.
Now I really sound like a freak.
No, it makes all the sense in the world. Um, I don't know if I'm on your level, but I feel kind of the same way when especially when I'm writing. I go into I'm in a different place. I'm in a
Yeah.
different time. I'm not here.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I have a
and
hard
that's
time relating to people who don't have an artistic ability like writing, drawing, spoken word poem, things like that. I have a really hard time relating outside after a while because I'm like, how does your mind not do what mine does? So it makes me feel very strange
Yeah, I understand.
because my brain can go from one topic to another in my head when I'm thinking of a painting, which is all freaking day long.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm always picturing what I'm doing in my head. And I have so many ideas. Sometimes when I go try and paint, I had too many ideas and then I'm overwhelmed. And I'm like, anxiety, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to be, on this different plane of existence most of the time in your head. So when you're I relate to you with that introverted extrovert aspect of it because for me, as I'm fine getting out talking to people, but when that social meter runs out,
Oh yeah.
it's gone. It's
That's
gone.
it.
I'm gonna have a panic attack. I need to go home. I need to be in my house. It's quiet. I need to go make something, you know?
I totally get it. Yep, that's me too.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned that about people, and I feel so bad to even say this because how do you take it other than it sounds really bad?
It
But
does. It
it's like,
does.
it's like I don't know how to relate to the average person. I have nothing in common with people. Y'all are going to think I'm a freak here. I don't watch television. I
I
rarely
don't have
watch
cable.
movies. I rarely watch movies. I read a lot of books,
Same.
and I don't listen to popular music. I find stuff I like and I listen to. I haven't turned the radio on to listen to music in God knows how
And
long.
Charles forces music upon her every once in a while.
No. I like going on YouTube and finding stuff. No, that's
Uh,
different. That's totally
Mhm.
different.
I
But
said, Francie, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this right now.
Yeah.
You got to do it right now.
See, I'll
Right now.
go to work and everybody's talking about a certain TV show or something, and I'm like, I don't have a clue what you're talking about, and they look at me like, what is wrong with you? Why don't you know this? My life is so rich in these other things. I don't want to sit and unless it's something really intriguing, like the movie you mentioned, I would probably watch that because that sounds really cool. But just to sit down and I'm in front of a computer all day at work.
Yes.
Unless I'm writing, I really don't want to be sitting in front of a screen. I've got too many creative things I want to do, and I'm getting older and my time is short. So, I'm trying to devote as much time as I have to the things I want to do while I can. So
There's
people think
nothing.
I'm really strange, 'cause you don't
Justin and I try and tell people that all the time. I'm like, we're at work all the time. We work in jobs where we cannot share the things we love and are passionate about. I mean, we can, but it comes with judgment. It comes with things, they're like, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? And it's, you got to get confused if people are asking because they actually want to know or just asking because they want to silently judge you and just
Right.
sound like they care.
Oh yeah.
But it's so hard. Like, I don't listen to like the top 20 hits. I don't care. I'm more of like a Led Zeppelin. I like my soul music stations.
Hey, we're good friends then. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, you put on Day Tripper by the Beatles, I'm good to go. Like that's a great song. I'm ready to paint. Like, let's go,
Exactly.
So it's just so hard when you're trying to, talk to people and it sounds bad, like you're trying to say you're better than them for having a hobby, a passion. It's not it. It's just, I don't know how to express to you what I'm seeing. Like, I don't, the tone, the mood, like it's weird. I don't know how to describe it.
People,
Yeah.
people are just different. That's all.
That
Yeah.
is, and I really feel at home in the arts community here in town. I can really be myself with these people and not have to worry about, trying to explain myself.
Exactly.
And that's what I love. I just love that.
And I haven't been to a lot of art functions with Francie, but I've been to a couple, and I can 1,000% attest to that. She is just, she glows. She's just herself, and she does what she does. So, all right, Francie. Well, we're getting close to the hour mark. I want to make sure I leave you time to promote whatever you want to promote. I do want you to talk about your Artalicious Artworks page on Facebook and how people can find you for any commission work or anything else you want to plug or put out there. I know you and Stoney did this awesome book last year that you might want to talk about.
Yeah, we did a book called Hooked on a Feeling, which is a pop music retrospective, goes back to the 50s up to 1990. He did the writing. I did the portraits that are in the book. That can be found at Amazon. I've written The Ghost Light of Alhambra, the sequel, The Hush of the Whispering Winds. Hopefully we'll see the light of day maybe next year. It depends on how much time I have. Any of my books can be found on Amazon. I used to sell them from the house, but that got to be too much, so I just send everybody to my Amazon page. I have Instagram, Francie Klopotic. That's where I post progress pictures of all my work. You can contact me through Facebook. I have a, like Charles said, an art page called Artalicious Artworks. Friend me on Facebook if you wish. What I'm working on right now, it's a really huge thing that's going to happen in September. I don't feel like I have the ability to talk about it publicly yet, but there's going to be a huge event downtown Augusta in early September. And Charles, I'll let you and Lena know about it when I can talk about it. But so I'm in the process of trying to get some art made for that. And going commissions. I've got yours on the table, Charles. I've got another one I'm working on. So yeah, I do commission work. I could graphite, acrylic paint, mixed media. If anybody's interested, you can write me at Francie Klopotic at yahoo.com. That's FranCieKlopotic at yahoo.com if you have any questions. And but to be honest, I think that's it. I'm just really kind of overwhelmed right now with all these projects I've got to prepare for. But
And it's
I'm telling
okay.
you, huh?
On the YouTube link, and on the podcast links, I'll make sure that I'll put that information on there too. So if
Okay,
you're
that
okay
sounds
with sharing
great.
your email address, I'll do that, and I'll
Yeah.
share the link to your Artalicious Artworks Facebook page so they can find you
Okay,
there too.
that sounds great. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And
Buy her stuff.
buy her
now.
stuff.
Do not make me come after you, Horror 421 family. Buy Francie's art. It is beautiful. You want her stickers on all of your things. Buy her stuff.
Well,
Thank
Francie,
you.
if I'm not mistaken, you have a website too, right?
What's that again?
You have a website, right?
Yes, I do. FrancieKlopotic.com.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
We're gonna put that link on there too.
Yeah,
And
you can reach me through that, where I take commissions. You can look at my gallery. When you pull up the page, it shows all the most recent work that I've done. Every time I finish a piece, I put it on there. I've got a news blog where you can go and see what I'm up to.
well,
And
ladies and gentlemen, I've opened that page, and yeah, all that's there. And there's a little tab called Artist for Hire. So click here to email me now. So let's
Yep.
make some art. All right, we'll put this
Sounds
link on there
great.
too.
All right, thank you.
All right, Elena Morales, why don't you tell our listening fans what you're up to and how they can reach you?
Well, I am Elena Morales, obviously, and I am Elena Marie on Facebook. If you'd like to follow me there, kind of chit chat. If you'd like to direct message me about any makeup questions you may have. If you'd like to follow makeup shenanigans and things of that sort, you can follow me on at jukeboxbaby78 on Instagram. I post makeup pictures, beauty makeup, horror makeup, special effects stuff, random rantings of drag art that I've tried to delve into this year. Also, if you'd like to watch TikToks and cringy videos that I feel are cringy, and my face is at jukeboxbaby78 on TikTok as well. I just would also like to say to our Horror 421 family, thank you so much for all of the love we have been getting on our Facebook page. It's amazing how many of you are listening to us and following. But we do want to hear from you guys. If you guys would like to post anything on our wall, anything you'd like us to talk about, any movie reviews you would wish to hear about, any guests you kind of want to hear from, we would love to hear from you. Please hit us up on our Facebooks, bug us, stalk us. We love it. You can also find my picture of that is on Charles's book cover on valleyboypublications.com.